Welcome to NEC's Cutting Edge Playhouse, where we will be interviewing our 4 finalists. Charles White, writer of Unentitled. Well, when was it that you first knew that you really wanted to be a writer?
You know, it's funny. That's a hard one. I know. Well, actually, in high school, I was on the student newspaper as well. And I was on the yearbook staff that wrote essays in the yearbook. So I knew I had some facility at writing. I hadn't quite picked the genre, like would it be drama? Would it be short stories? Would it be journalism? So I knew I wanted to write at a fairly early age, but I didn't focus on what type of writing. Now, I think had I been more astute at that young age, I would have realized it was plays because, again, my mother, very pivotal in my development, dragged me to Broadway shows when I was a kid. And I've been a theater fan and, patron of the arts for a long, long time. And I should have known that as much as I enjoyed plays, it should have occurred to me that, hey, maybe you can do this. And I really put that off for a long time. But I've been going to theater since I was, 6, 7, 8. And like I said, if I had been able to put it together, I would have said, yeah, this is really what you want to do.
Scarlett Finney, writer of The Dream Chest. Now, when did you actually first start writing? So that was is this your first play? Is it your second, your third? When did you start writing? And what inspired you to actually be a writer and a playwright, no doubt?
This is my first completed play. I started writing, I think it was back in the 80s. I was working for NBC television in beautiful downtown Burbank. And I joined a writing group, and we had competitions there. And I started really getting into writing and started writing spec scripts for shows on NBC, like The Cosby Show, Miami Vice, Alfred Hitchcock. Nothing ever bought, nothing ever optioned, but I kept writing, and I just felt like I really loved to do it. I got immersed in the stories when I was writing them. I could see what was going on. I could see the characters, and I loved it.
Rajendra Ramoon Maharaj, writer of I Don't Have a Gun, Stop Shooting. So what inspired you to be a writer, and what was that moment like?
Well, for me, I always believe that the ancestors speak to you, and your ancestors aren't just, floating around. They're like walking among you. And I had the pleasure of meeting August Wilson. And August Wilson was walking. We were at New Federal Theater seeing a show, and Woody King Jr. said, hey, August needs to get some cigarettes. Go walk with him to the bodega. And I walked with August Wilson, and, he was so fascinating and so charming. And at the end of it, he said, you should be a writer. You should write plays. You're interesting. And I was like, no, I'm a director. I'm a choreographer. I'm going to be an artistic director. And he said, listen, young man, when the ancestors take a hold of you, they will not let go, and you will tell the story. And he walked away, and I remember being like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
When did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer?
I known that I wanted to be a writer for quite a while. Actually, the truth is, I knew that I wanted to tell stories a little bit after I realized that I wanted to paint pictures with words. Started wanting to paint pictures with words. And what I mean by that is I started writing poetry. And a little bit after I started writing poetry, I became interested in the idea of stories. I began initially wanting to paint pictures with words. And what I mean by that was writing poetry. That was a lot of the initial writing that I started doing. And shortly after that, I started to transition into a desire to tell stories. And I identified certain formats by which I wanted to tell stories. The first format I gravitated towards were for movies and for TV and that. And then a little later, much later, although in the back of my mind, I had been considering it for quite a while. I knew that I wanted to do something for the stage and for theater. I definitely wanted to write a play, and I just don't think I ever really found the concepts that were amenable to the challenge of writing a play.